Welcome to the Churros.
Take it easy. What is this? Did you just win the Champions League?
Tácticas Podcast. It is Monday, December 7th in the year 2020. And here we are. This weekend, I took a picture with my family, a Christmas picture. My two kids and my wife with Santa. It's an annual tradition. This year, Santa was 10 feet behind us, behind a plexiglass, and we were all wearing masks, and it was hilarious. And now today, we are here to talk about Cadiz, a lovely small team on the southern coast of Spain who have beaten Real Madrid and Barcelona in the same season. Because what could be more descriptive of that state, the state of the quote-unquote Big Two, than that? So joining me, Kiyan, Sobhani, to talk about Spanish football is Diego Lorijn. Diego, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm a little taken aback by that intro. Again, I had to check the results. I was like, wait, the Real Madrid just win the Champions League. Has the La Liga been decided for Madrid?
Of course. But, it was the prestigious December weekend trophy. You didn't get the memo?
No. Well,
okay.
That one must have slipped by. But listen, if Barca's losses bring this much delight, I can't wait for you win a double, or let alone un triplete my days, if Real Madrid wins a triplete one day. But listen, let's talk about it, man. It's unfortunate that this has come at this moment in time, right? Because I wasn't able to do the pod on Friday because of health and schedule issues. Had it been on Friday, I would have been, of course, singing the intro. But we skipped Fridays. Our apologies to our loyal listeners. We will make it up to you.
Yes.
And here we are on Monday, where the tables have turned, and Kiyan's doing the intro, and rightfully so, of course. There's no doubt about it.
That's very apt.
Another with a massive upset, David versus Goliath, and they did it again. So over to you, my friend. I don't know where you want to take it, where you want to go, but I'll grab your hand and follow you wherever it is that you lead me.
Well, certainly, if we had done the Friday pod, then the intro would have been, as you said, quite reverse, because it was following Real Madrid's loss to Shakhtar. But you graciously gave us the day off on Friday, and now we're here, and I get to do it. I would say on Saturday, because I didn't watch the game. I actually finished watching Barcelona and Cadiz this morning. I didn't see it live. On Saturday night, my dad called me and he said, "Did you see the Cadiz-Barcelona game?" And I said, "No, I saw the result. Were Cadiz good, or did they get lucky? What happened?" And he said, "They did to Barcelona what they did to us." And so I watched it again this morning. I thought Barcelona were not that bad, but very key brain farts twice specifically,
of course,
which we'll talk about is kind of what happened. And I gotta say, I saw a lot of Messi slander before I watched the game, and just the idea like Messi had another bad game. I thought that was far from the truth after watching this from start to finish. We can talk about his crazy stats, like 10 shots and 9 completed dribbles, like that. Those stats are just ridiculous to read. At the same time, the eye test told me that he was actually the only one that could do anything in this game offensively. And if not for him, I just don't know where else any offensive chances were to come from, whether it was his individual dribbling and through balls to Dest on the right side, creating chances for Braithwaite, some of his great touches, great dribbles.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't pin this on Messi like the narrative told me to before the game. But,
okay. I think
what did you think?
No, I'm trying to make sense of that Messi slander, and I think that there might be some resentment among some quote-unquote culés, and I use that word lightly in this occasion, for those that are, slanting Messi, as you mentioned, as you put it. That comes from sort of the latest statements with regards to, and rumors with regards to Messi having agreed a deal with PSG that he'll be joining Neymar next season. That Neymar, the reason why he leaked or why he said what he said following the Champions League clash against Man U, I think it was, when he said that.
Right.
You know, that he wants to play with Messi again, and he's sure that will happen next season. Apparently, Neymar's in the loop, and again, things have been agreed, etc. So that might have something to do with it. And there's no doubt about it. Messi is not the same that we know, that we are used to from him. That despite the stats that you want to go over, which I would love to hear, because I'm not aware of those neither. There's a clear sort of change in attitude and just things not going his way. Like I said, like we're used to seeing from him, right? So that might be that. Now, with regards to how I saw all this, I think Barca arrived facing this game with two facts, like dos hechos, as they say, which with two knowns. And that is that they came off the back of yet another good and very solid Champions League victory against Fenerbahce, with standout performances from various players that kind of lifted the mood, lifted spirits. It's a fact that we're seeing one Barca in the Champions League at the moment and another in La Liga. And again, man, I had those fucking R's loaded for you, Kiyan, on Friday. I was, I wish I could have rolled them off had I not been feeling so shit and I come off of like 2 13-hour or 12-hour shooting days.
Don't worry, you'll have plenty of opportunities this season. I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities.
I hope so.
Don't worry,
because that was an absolute delight. That was a great, absolute delight watching that take place in the Bernabeu. But that leads me to my second point. So the reason that you're doing the intro, of course, is Atleti won, Madrid won. Well, I don't want to digress over into those games yet, because we're going to talk about Madrid and Atletico a little bit more later on. But with regards to Barca, my second fact is that no team has ever come back from a 12-point gap of the league leaders. So this was an absolute must-win for Barca. Now, I say must win because of what I just mentioned. 12-point gap has never been, recouped or bounced back from for any La Liga winner. A tie was not going to be good enough. We wanted, we were expecting and wanted to see a great performance. And again, I was hopeful. The Champions League made me think that this team was kind of turning a switch, perhaps. But, what are you going to do, man? I think I agree with you. I thought, again, that the first half wasn't that bad. I did not take massive issue with what I was seeing from the team in the first half. There was some great action. There was a great chance that there was. I think it was a combination between Messi and Busi to send Braithwaite on his way, like that. He basically had to force a very good save from the goalkeeper in that occasion to not allow Barca to go ahead in first in that game. In fact, Ledesma had, I think, a really fantastic game all around. I thought he performed some really, really good saves. Who was it early on as well? I want to say Dest that had a good chance as well. That really very early on that went flying just wide as well. But
Coutinho had one at the far post early.
So Coutinho is the one. Coutinho had the one that he was almost going to leave it to Jordi, or maybe he should have left it for Jordi Alba. Sorry, it's Dest that makes the run in, passes it to Griezmann.
Correct.
Now I remember. Griezmann just misses it exactly, and then Coutinho gets on the end of it. But what are you going to do? Like in a case like the Mingueza header is one of those situations that happen in football when, a team that the state of Barca are in, and particularly in La Liga, just it's kind of Murphy's Law applies to it, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, some will blame Dest for giving away that corner. Maybe it was a silly corner to give away. But the truth is that this game was just kind of a suicide mission, as some have described it, which I think is accurately described. If it wasn't Dest, Mingueza putting it in, this team is bound to have these kind of performances, I think, this season. And again, I'm referring to La Liga because I think in the Champions League, with 7 games left to play, anything can happen. And we've seen Barca perform well. It's different circumstances, different sort of pressure, different ambitions perhaps as well. So, but in La Liga, that's what we're getting. We're getting very little from Busquets, very little from De Jong. There's no kind of play creation, right? There's no ability to read the game, I feel, from those two that are so pivotal to really make this team tick. And when it comes to Messi and Griezmann, again, this one was one of those games where you feel like you're getting away of each other, right? I remember at the end of the second half, it was kind of like the ball fell to both, and it just looks clumsy. There's things look clumsy in this team. There's no wing factor, no ability to find space, out wide neither, and you have to say, I mean, Coutinho, besides that chance, also had just a very low rhythm of bad performance. And Kiyan, I mean, tell me when you want to interject, because I've got stuff to get off my chest. I don't know if you want to get on a long rant or if you want to interject before I go on continue my long rant and just hear you out at this point.
Well, I suppose just because I'm writing down things that you're saying so that I don't forget to respond to certain things, or at least agree with you on certain things, so that the list doesn't get long. I'll do a quick interjection. I think that the point about Dest conceding the corner is, I hadn't heard of anyone complaining about that. But again, I'm obviously not involved in the same circles as you are. But I actually made a note on that play. I actually thought he defended. It was a good defensive sequence from him, defending against Alex Fernandez, who was obviously Nachos Fernandez. And by the way, he had a good game. And there was a certain sweetness from Madridistas because him and both Negredo were important in this game against Barcelona. But I actually thought that was a good Dest sequence, and I thought Dest overall was pretty good.
I thought he was a bright spot too, yeah.
I agree that you need more from Busquets. I think you need more from Busquets, De Jong, and Griezmann, those three in particular. De Jong
was very poor.
De Jong, an interesting thing, because the numbers will tell us that Barcelona had 1,000,000% possession, 1,000,000 passes. So the passing accuracy will look good for everybody. But Busquets, Griezmann, and De Jong had key moments, I thought, where they just had such bad passes in the build-up play. And if you look at the pass charts in this game, it's a lot of just like a lot of congestion and a lot of redundancy in possession, I found. And so
typical, yeah.
And so, when you're talking about players who made a difference, again, despite Messi slander, and you said that a lot of that might just be off the pitch things. Without Messi, you had really nothing else in this game. I thought Braithwaite made good runs and Dest. So those three. And then Dembele when he comes in. And then there was that unfortunate report about the injury later, which hopefully isn't as bad as initially said. I think it's only going to be like 2 to 3 weeks he's missing, right? Something like that. So it's not too bad. But
yes, I think it might even be maximum 2 weeks. But
yeah. So, really you're looking at, in my eyes, 3 players who can make a difference in bringing something different. Dembele, Messi, and Braithwaite, because I actually think Braithwaite has been a bright spot in this string of games here. So
yeah, he has.
So my point is back to the pass maps. The kind of Coutinho was in that mix too. Coutinho, Griezmann, De Jong, and Busquets bring a little bit of just congestion to me. That's the way I see it. Tripping over each other's feet and a lot of redundancy, short passes, all in one little kind of sphere. That used to be brilliant when it was Xavi and Iniesta and Busquets, because it just opened up space and the movement was a little bit better, and they were just obviously better players. So now I think it's a little bit tough. We should give credit to Cadiz, who gave Barca the ball.
Look, I was gonna get to that next. That's why I stopped to see what hear you out on Barca.
You're up.
We have to give credit where it was due. But just on a Messi factor as well. I mean, yes, there were Messi free kicks, and I think he tried to curl in the corner or two as well directly. But generally speaking, though, I mean, you sense, of course, anything can come from that little genius at any moment in time. But you do sense that this is going to be Messi's worst year in 10, 15 years. I think this will go down as Messi's last season with Barca, where we've never seen him, this kind of. And by worst year, I don't mean. Well, individually, he's part of it, but collectively, more than anything, he looks like a player that just doesn't want to be there, that wishes he did pack his bags and was allowed to leave, excuse me, and is just not buying into what he's being proposed at the moment, or what he's surrounded with at the moment. I was imagining, and then I'll get to Cadiz, but I want to bring this up because I was imagining Barca's locker room at the moment, and I was comparing that to champions locker rooms or teams with locker rooms where there's a good dynamic, where things are going. When that's of course easier said than done, because it's harder for teams to struggle to find like bond and team chemistry, right? And to kind of like high five each other, and the spirit is high. Of course, that comes with wins, but I think in these kind of times, team spirit is even more important. And the fact that in Messi's case, he doesn't have Luis Suarez, and instead, he's up there with up on the pitch. I mean, with Griezmann, a person that he doesn't have much feeling with, right? He doesn't have much chemistry with or friendship with. My point is, I think he's feeling very lonely. I guess that is, what it all comes down to. And I could just imagine that locker room with, the French gang kind of being a sort of a group, and it just must be awkward also for Koeman. Anyway, let me not get too deep into this one, and let's save that for another pod. Cadiz. So,
well, can I just on the Messi point really quick before you get to Cadiz?
Right. Sorry, yeah.
I think you said like, I don't. Sorry, did you say something like this might be his worst year or something like that? And I think I
think we will see that this season, and 10-50, yeah.
Well, I think you were a little bit hesitant on that, but I actually think you don't need to be hesitant. I think this is his worst year so far. Like from a goal scoring and assist perspective, if you talking about like per 90 minutes, it is his worst year, going all the way back to 2004, like when he first broke out. This is his worst year. Right. So you can say that. Now, from a chance creation standpoint, it's not bad, but from a goal scoring perspective, it's not great. And when you don't have Suarez and Neymar, that becomes a huge problem. So, you could let Messi do things other than scoring, even though he was going to score anyway when Neymar and Suarez were in the team. But obviously now you just need him more than ever. This is a bad year, bad time for him to not be scoring. So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So, we've discussed that to death. But, yeah. So, Cadiz. Tell me about Cadiz.
So, yeah, I mean, look, on the topic of Cadiz, because you said we got to give credit, and we have to give credit where credit is due. And Álvaro Cervera's his setup and his style of play was one that we've seen before, right? You mentioned the fact that they beat Real Madrid, they beat Athletic Club as well. They tied with Villarreal, tied with Granada. I mean, they're going head-to-head with La Liga giants, big clubs in La Liga, and also head-to-head with teams in form. They beat Eibar. I mean, they're now fifth. So it's just, they're having a very good season. And once they were up one goal, that kind of played into Cervera's plans, because they're a team that know how to suffer. They're determined to play this kind of way where they don't mind defending very tight score lines tooth and nail. And it's what they do this season. So it's the fact that they even overcame obstacles like was the central. I think Mauro. He got injured in the first half. Yeah. Where players are walking off on their part, and they still able to keep a composed team out there and force mistakes like they did on Barca's behalf. Now there's, you can see this from two ways, right? I think you can see it in a way where, Barca in the second half, once they got the equalizer and everything, they were back in it. I think offensively they showed, they put Granada up against the ropes. They were kind of suffocating them with constant offensive pressure where, eventually after I think it was Messi to Alba assist allowed Alcalá, right, to put in the own goal.
Yep.
And it just kind of continued, that dynamic sort of continued where, okay, Negredo, Cadiz didn't look tremendously, bothered by what was happening to them. Again, I think this fell in their game plan. But also the fact that in Barca's case, Comedy Central continued and Alba inexplicably throws in a fucking very sloppy, super fast ball to Lenglet's right foot, mind you. Something I didn't notice at the time, but he passes it to his weak foot. Now, these are little details that, again, at the moment, you're maybe not aware of, you don't appreciate that, but when you hear it, you've actually realized that Lenglet is left foot and he passes to his right foot, and the speed that he throws it at, it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're not concentrated right now. Where's your concentration? Now, I wonder as well if Ter Stegen was sort of calling for the ball, because it seems like Lenglet sort of gives up on it halfway and then lets it, tries to let it through to Ter Stegen. But Negredo is there applying, just doing what he has to do as a number 9, applying great pressure, keeping cool and keeping a cool head under that pressure as well, and put in the 2-1. From there on, you just saw it just sort of sink in, and Koeman revert back to that Hail Mary style of football that we've grown accustomed to also seeing from time to time from this team, where he puts in everybody, right? He puts in Trincao, puts in Pjanic, and tries to see if he can sneak a goal in, which they nearly did. It was actually, of all the players that didn't impress me, again, Busquets that had a really good pass to Dest in the 70-something minute that just goes wide again. Again, going to show just, I think, how good Dest is. Dest is really we should talk about him at some point, because it's a shame that this team is going through what they're going through, because I think there are some bright spots in this Barca team. But all in all, man, it just sums up a team where this is what we should have been expecting, and I almost feel silly or stupid to have been maybe swayed or swooned
and swayed, either would work.
Swooned.
Yeah.
Swooned. Okay. By this team in preseason, where I was thinking, hey, shit, could it be that we might maybe have a pretty good decent season? Things don't seem all that bad. When you look at it on paper, again, Barca's got really, really good players. I mean, even from the newcomers, Trincao, I think Trincao continues to, impress, despite also in the Champions League. The poor guy was very unlucky to be the only forward not to score a goal. And in fact, if anything, that game he had one of his more poor performances of the season. But this is it, man. Like, the fact that the 2021 La Liga champions are now 12 points ahead of Barca is La Liga KO. It's a knockout for Barca for La Liga, and that's a reality. We have to assume that. We have to accept that and try to somehow make it still so that we can at least say finish in the top 4, because I think that is the only realistic objective at this point. And we will see, man, because right now Barca is just far away from that. Of course, there's still 2 games in hand. I think if Barca gets the 3 points from these 2 games in hand, I think they will be 6th or 7th now. I'm not exactly sure, but that's not a given that Barca can pick up these 6 points with the 2 games in hand. So Champions League it is. All the chips are on the Champions League.
Well, even when you mentioned at the top of the podcast that Barca are 12 points behind, that's also they're behind the team that also has the same games in hand that Barca does.
Okay, right. Well, there you go.
I like that you said that Cadiz didn't seem bothered. I thought that was an apt kind of way to describe it, and I think they felt comfortable enough in their own shell to pick out passes out of the back. Jan Bodiger in midfield, very good at kind of just reading those passes that Barcelona were trying to play. And I think this is there's a funny question from a patron, but I will just say that I think if there's any consolation for you, Barcelona's black jerseys were pretty nice. That's the one
sick
takeaway. This is slick. It's a very slick thing. Okay, so question from our patron Christo, which came in before the podcast. I think it was meant for the Friday show, which fit at the time, but it's so funny how football changes. So Christo says, my question to Kiyan, my sir, when seeing Barca playing better and better with every passing game, do you pee yourself a little bit? So I just want to say
a step further, but I won't because I know you don't like to go there.
Well, I just want to say that if you've been listening to what I've been saying, what I've been writing, and everything that I've been saying on Twitter, and even in some of the columns I've written about Barca this season, I've always been very clear that this Barca team does not worry me. And even the games that they're winning, it's very similar to Real Madrid to me in that sense, that I can't get carried away when Real Madrid win, and I can't necessarily get carried away when they lose. I don't have that much confidence.
Yet this intro, you were letting your R's roll like ridiculous.
Well,
you got carried away.
You asked me if Real Madrid won the treble after that intro. If Real Madrid win the treble, I can dig even deeper and pull some R's out. Okay? I've been doing some breath work lately. I've been getting into breath work, so my oxygen levels are getting a little bit higher. So I think I can pull out some. I have some R's. Okay. I have some R's in the holster for when that day comes.
Okay. All right.
But no, I was not peeing myself, even like in hindsight or whatever. This Barca team has not impressed me that much. And I'm sure they'll win.
But when you say they don't worry you, you mean in what sense, really? Because obviously, neither Barca. Madrid doesn't worry Barca and Barca fans, and vice versa. So, what does worry you? Meaning, like, does Atletico worry you? Like,
yes.
Madrid's not going to win La Liga. I count you guys out as well.
That's fair. Completely fair.
Jump the gun here, but
put it this way: Atletico make me pee myself a little bit more than Barca does. So do Real Sociedad. So do Bayern Munich.
I get it.
If we have to play them,
dude, my bad. You know what? I misinterpreted this question. You see, that's why the peeing. See, I attributed the peeing yourself out of delight, out of like laughing, out of I'm pissing yourself laughing. So I thought, yeah. That's why that's why I did the worrying you that kind of surprised me part. That part sort of described surprised me because I thought he meant like pee yourself laughing, like you get a kick out of seeing Barca get, do so bad.
No, Ewan posted like this graphic. I think he made it up himself on Twitter, which I think fits into this discussion where it's like it's a flow chart of Real Madrid, and. If the question is, are Real Madrid supposed to win this game, then it means they lose. If they're not supposed to win this game, then that means they're going to win it. So it means if they play against Barca or Inter, Sevilla, they're going to win. If they play against Cadiz, Shakhtar, they're going to lose. And that just means it's just basically a very simplified way of saying that Real Madrid have still not figured out how to score against defensively organized teams who won't open up against them a little bit. So Sevilla, the Sevilla analysis, and by the way, I'm really interested also to talk about Atletico again this week and other teams. But the Sevilla analysis was that Sevilla are actually, in a way, Real Madrid, a poor man's Real Madrid, with all due respect to them, because the way Lopetegui plays and the way he uses his fullbacks, the way he has his line half the pitch, the way he crosses, the way he has possession, and the way he doesn't actually have an efficient target man is the way Real Madrid are, but a less talented version of Real Madrid, which is harsh, but it's true. So Real Madrid took one out of the Cadiz book and played more defensively. They kind of dialed back their press a bit in the second half. They absorbed pressure. They weren't entirely comfortable, but they were comfortable enough. And Varane and Nacho, they had an easy time mopping up all the crosses that Sevilla were putting in. And so those are the games that they should be able to win. I mean, they should win almost every game on the calendar, on paper. But, those are the games that Real Madrid are built to win right now. What happens against Borussia Mönchengladbach on Wednesday? Well, I think they probably win that one too. And then and put a Band-Aid on it.
Very confident over here.
I wouldn't say very confident. I would just say it's probably what's going to happen, right? What do you think? Do you think Real Madrid is not going to win that game?
I don't know. This is Real Madrid. I mean, look, this is Real Madrid. This is the Champions League. Obviously, you never know what to expect. There could be, 5 chilenas from Benzema to go into the top left corner.
Sure.
Or we could see Mönchengladbach force a tie, maybe a win.
They're playing well too, by the way. They're a good team this season.
They are playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're top of the group as well, right? The top of your group.
Yeah, they're top. I think. Yeah. Yeah, they're top. Of course, they're top.
Yeah. And I know what I'm hoping for. I don't know what to expect. But I will say that I'm missing self-criticism, auto-criticism, self-criticism from you a little bit. I felt like this game. Look, I felt that against Sevilla, Madrid deserved the win. Yes, I will say that. No doubt about it. And I was very impressed with Vinny, particularly in the first half. After 20 seconds, he already had a chance, basically one of the best chances of the game, to one up. And I think it was Vinicius as well that forces a steal from Bono.
Yes.
And right, it is him as well. I mean, he basically has got this tremendous ability to create chances and obviously, not scored so many of them. Some say a little bit like Higuain. I think that's a pretty astute comparison between him and Higuain in that sense. Higuain also in the beginning would work really hard, create chances, but not get so many goals. What was it? I mean, it was. And again, it was. I mean, Vinicius was all over this place here. I think his influence was hugely noticed. Even when Bono was forced to make a massive save from Benzema near the end of the first half, or you see this nice little step over. I love those little moves. It just it shows great sort of knowledge and awareness of your teammates all around. So Vinicius stepping over that ball, allowing Benzema to get a shot in that forces a save before. Of course, Kroos also had a shot outside of the box that goes flying I think in the top right corner it was. An indirect free kick that forces another Bono save. So all in all, I think in the first half, you're right that Madrid deserved the win, and based on the first half alone, Madrid deserved to win. Now, having said that, the 1-0, let it be Vinicius to score the 1-0 and get another goal where his shot doesn't go anywhere near target. Instead, he hits Bono, for an own goal. That goal in and of itself reminded me a lot like the goal he scored against us in the Clásico last season, where it was similar. Ter Stegen. This one, I mean, was more of a flagrant own goal, if anything. But Ter Stegen tapped it in. But with all the Madrid praise aside, with regards to Sevilla, I really liked Suso, man. I thought Suso really. Had he been in longer, I think that Sevilla would have been able to create more. I think a lot of chances and intention, rather, came from his boots. Of course, yes, there was the Luc de Jong kind of perfect Chilena in the second half. That really wasn't much of a problem for Courtois at all. It went straight to him. Yeah. But the way that, Suso, he had one action which... It could have been a goal. It always was a goal or a contender for goal of the season, where he dribbles past Kroos and Nacho. For those who, most of the listeners would have seen it, but try to look at it again. I want to think that he takes Nacho out after going have gone past Kroos by pulling the ball back quickly as well. I mean, it's an absolute delight of a dribble, and then his shot obviously went flying wide in the top left corner. But for me, he was the best player of the game nearly for Sevilla anyway. Shame he came on so late. Ocampos had another chilena blocked by Courtois as well. We could have seen 2 chilenas go in this case for Sevilla in one game. But all in all, man, Vini, he excites me. He continues to, make me sort of, make me excited for what we can see from him in the future. I still have a lot. I don't know what the word is around the campfire over in Madrid with the fans, with regards to Vini, but I'm very optimistic for him. Modric had a very solid, good game as well. When he's on the pitch, at least in this occasion, you felt that, there's somebody in control and command of the team. I mean, that's his presence, right? More than Kroos in that sense. I felt that Modric was the leader of this team out on the pitch. And so again, all in all, I mean, now I've been singing Madrid's praises forever, and yet I feel like this 1-0, like they scrape by in a way. I mean, it's the same way that you say that you're not worried for Barca. Looking at what Madrid does throughout the 90 minutes, it's not a team where, that I feel, and when I say worry, I mean becoming La Liga champions. That's what I mean. If they can beat Barca, that's not my worry. I mean, it's, they've already done it. Like this team can beat Barca. Any team can beat Barca. We don't know what to expect really, right? But this Madrid is not a championship caliber team in La Liga, that is. Obviously in the Champions League, we know that anything can happen, which is why I remain optimistic and hopeful that a miracle could happen, it could shine on Barca in that case for this Champions League season. Who knows?
I think you and I are actually aligned in our analysis and our thoughts of Real Madrid. Pretty much everything you said there, I am in line with. Even with Suso, I actually asked Lopetegui about Suso after the game, and he said
you
that...
You did?
Yeah.
Look at you. Oh,
and
man, I miss not covering your press conference, dude. Or I say your press, like seeing your mug
my press,
pop up
the
on the
Kiyan
face.
Sobhani show. You're no longer translating those.
I'm not translating your press conference.
Or just taking snapshots of the back of my head. I guess that doesn't happen on Zoom anymore. But
yeah, I had a good Zoom snap pic of you as well last season. It was a funny one where you're just sitting there in the middle, the only one that's not allowed to ask a question. And you remember that one?
Did you get my bald spot, or was I wearing a hat?
No, you were not wearing a hat. You wear hats to press conferences? How rude! How dare you?
If it's cold enough, hell yeah. And I'm not the only one.
Cold
a lot
enough?
of people do. Yeah, it's
In your
freezing
house?
at the Bernabeu. Yeah. And by the time you come inside to try
I'm talking about Zoom.
Oh, yeah, sometimes. Depends. I'm also cold in the house too.
True, me too. I'm walking around with a fat ass scarf.
I'm wearing a big hoodie and a scarf.
Uh-huh.
Just because I'm cold and that's how I'm comfortable.
Me too.
Lopetegui said that.
What was your question?
Well,
Yes.
just that I thought he changed the dynamic of the game, and if he agreed on it, and if so, what did he bring to the table? And Lopetegui said that, well, he gave us a jump offensively, and the only reason he didn't actually start was because he's missed games and he's been injured, and he wasn't 100% fit to do so. And with Vinicius, 2 points. One is, what are the Real Madrid people saying about Vinicius? Well, it changes every week, and depends on if he's good or not. And if he's good, then then it's we should be patient with him. And if he's not good, then it's we wasted our money on him. So this week we should be patient with him.
Okay.
The other point about what was you saying? Oh, but the La Liga chances. I don't think they are. I don't think they have enough in the tank for the league. I think what we saw against Sevilla was that they scraped through with an own goal, which, that's harsh. I don't think it should have been counted as an own goal. I think that's Vinicius' goal. But I think it's hard to rely on scraping by.
It's an own goal. What are you talking about?
No, I just mean that rule is stupid. It's an own goal.
Vinicius
But it
doesn't go
shouldn't be an own goal.
It's an own goal. Okay, go on. Sorry.
The rule is stupid. They should just, unless Bonu was like taking that ball and throwing it into his own net. I think the Vinicius deserves the goal. I don't like that rule. My point. Regardless, I don't think you can rely on scraping by 1-0. And the reason they were able to after the quarantine was their defense was awesome. And I said that after they won the championship last season. I think that's going to be hard to sustain doing that for another season. Or in this case, a full season, and last season was really half a season where their defense improved. So to do that again, I think it's very hard to sustain. And just looking at it, it's very laborious. It's hard to watch. It's hard to digest. It's hard to see Real Madrid so toothless offensively. And this is a better league than it's been. It's a league that's getting better for all our complaints about the big two sucking. The rest of the league is awesome. The rest of the league is really, really good.
Yep.
So whether the rest of the league can go toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich, Manchester, Liverpool, probably not. But at least they've improved. And I would argue Atletico can on their day. I know they've lost 4-0 against Bayern already. But I would argue on their day it's possible in a knockout game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, in that game against, remember, before the game itself in the Champions League, we were asked for predictions, and I predicted a 2-2, a 2-all, sorry, or 2-2. Ended 1-all in the day, and I felt like Atletico deserved the win. To be honest, I felt like they dominated, obviously a weakened German side, particularly in the first half. I think. Not much in the second half, but in that first half, I liked what I saw from Atleti against Bayern. So also there, I mean, they're just showing good form. I agree. I mean, on a European night, they could absolutely, progress and beat any side.
I also don't see a roadmap for Real Madrid to be better offensively than they already are. I just don't see it because it requires health and rhythm and consistency, and I don't think you're getting that in 2020. There's just too many variables, and there's not a goal scorer in the team. I mean, okay, look, I know, but Benzema is technically one, and he has been scoring, but it's just there's no roadmap for me. There's no Harry Kane or Son. There's no even Messi. I expect that he's going to start scoring. There's no Messi. There's no Suarez, Marcos Llorente type figure. There's no. If you even look at Real Sociedad, I mean, it's not even Isaac's not scoring, Oyarzabal is. And so they don't have that right now. And so I just don't see that a roadmap kind of opening up. And that's my take. So, yeah. So we're aligned. I think we're aligned.
Yeah. Before we move on, any winter transfer hopes in that sense to kind of lift the spirits or
I don't think so. Around? I don't think it's going to happen. No.
Okay.
Do you want to take some questions? I think we can. I think the questions will take us into things we haven't discussed yet. But do I have to watch Barca Juve tomorrow just because it's Ronaldo versus Messi? Because that game is meaningless, right?
No, it's not.
It is.
But or actually, it is, right? Yeah, Barca qualifies first. Are they qualified first? I think I need to see. I don't remember right now. I don't know if first
Churros. I don't know. I kind of feel like watching other games. I didn't watch Barca Ferencváros last game because
come on, you know that between Ronaldo and Messi, at least there'll be a little bit of that old school rivalry. You gotta hope at least.
Yeah,
even if it's just for pride.
Juve are 3 points behind Barca, and the goal differential is 7. And Barca won the first game. So I guess if Juve win by a bunch of goals, they can come first still. Is that how it works? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But okay, I'll watch it. But, the Man U PSG group is much more interesting. But I guess Ronaldo versus Messi. It may be the last time ever. So we have to watch it. We should watch it.
That's the point I was going to make. I saw I retweeted this beautiful artwork from, a massive Barca account. Barca Pictures, #14.
Was that the one from the Barca Twitter account, official one?
if he's a sorry, what? I didn't hear your question.
Barca Twitter tweeted out a picture of.
Oh no, yes. Well, there's that one exactly. No, somebody else made that one. This guy made one where basically he photoshopped from the very first time that Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi faced each other until the last time, and the different teams. So you're talking young Messi against a young Ronaldo at Man U, then obviously a little bit older in the Champions League final, Ronaldo, Man U, Messi, Barca, and then the Ronaldo's, Messi, Madrids, and etc. But just it's a sequence of about I don't know how many it is, like 8 or 9 different sequences, duels where you see them together, and it's photoshopped in a really cool way. Man, it's like you said, it could be one of the last times. I mean, this was the biggest one-on-one rivalry that we've seen in football, that we've known in football, dare I say ever. I mean, have we ever come across 2 players like this performing at their absolute peak for so long, snatching away balones de oro from one from the other for the remainder of for a decade basically. And something to commemorate, I think, in this game, and it's a new one as well. Juventus. I mean, Cristiano now with Juventus, Messi in his case still at Barca, but it's another one that could be added to that picture. And I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna hopefully enjoy it.
All right,
watching Ronaldo get beat.
You twisted my arm. I'll watch it.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas is where you go to get questions in, but also get access to bonus shows. Our patron Brendan Powers says, simply put, can you explain what's working for Real Sociedad and why they are surging to the top of the league? And also, can you discuss how Athletic Bilbao are sort of struggling? They went from a team that was unbeatable at San Mamés, and now they find themselves towards mid-table. I remember they were fighting for European spots at some points in the season. What do they need to do to move to the ranking that their fans deserve? So, Diego, I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on this. I'm sure you do. I would say with Athletic, they have 2 big issues to me. One is they don't have anyone who can score, and Iñaki can't be that guy, and Raul Garcia can't be relied upon more than he already is. And their transition defense hasn't looked good this season. And for Real Sociedad, they're both offensively and defensively, they've been brilliant. David Silva has fit in like a glove. He looks like peak David Silva. He's putting in passes, and his vision, like all of that stuff, it's like you're getting the whole package. And you and I discussed Isak's struggles earlier in terms of goal scoring, but Oyarzabal has taken that mantle in his scoring. And also, Portu and Januzaj, those 2 have taken the leap. And also defensively, they've been great. I mean, like their goal differential of plus 17, 12 games into this season is impressive no matter how you spin it. So that's my kind of very, quote-unquote, simply put analysis of those 2.
Look, honestly, in the case of Athletic Club, I have to confess here that I haven't watched them that much this season. You talk about, their lack of goal scoring ability, but that's what they've been doing for the longest of season. I mean, it's something that characterized this team under Garitano has always been the nitty gritty, the hardcore sort of physical battles, their midfield battles, dispossessing teams, particularly their defense. I mean, like you said, San Mamés was an absolute fortress, but up top, Raul Garcia permitting, Iñaki has always been an on and off goal scorer. He's always been a striker that has simply not scored enough goals, and he's not turning it around this season, not so far anyway. And I don't expect him to anymore. This is Iñaki with all the illusion, with all the excitement and hope that I think us neutrals of this club had for this player, whether he deserves a spot on the Spain team, etc. I mean, for me, at least personally, and it's not personally against him, obviously. I don't know the guy personally, but what I see from him on the field, based after so many seasons watching them, is like, this is an Iñaki Williams. This is what you're gonna get. He's not a great prolific goal scorer, and because of their limits, obviously only allowed to fichar to buy Basque players. Well, they're going to be a club that is at this moment in time hindered by that because they don't have that goal scorer. They continue not to have that goal scorer. And with regards to Real Sociedad, well, I mean, surging to the top of the league table I think is an overstatement. They've been at the top of the table because they've been very consistent, very good this season. Like I said at the beginning, they've improved. They managed to improve the gap that Odegaard left by returning to Real Madrid, by bringing in David Silva, who, as you said, is performed peak David Silva and is fitting like a glove. They did snatch up a point. I mean, the 0-0 against Alaves. I don't know if you want to argue if that's a sort of a Basque derby, or if it's a good point for Alaves, and is what I'm trying to say. But those are the kind of places I think that they want to pick up points, 3 points that is, and this 0-0 draw. I don't know if it puts a damper on things or what. I mean, obviously they have 25 points. They're still second in La Liga, but they have played 2 games more than Atlético de Madrid and 1 game more than Real Madrid, obviously 2 than Barça as well, and Sevilla for that matter. My point being is when the rest of the teams catch up and those 6 points are added to the rest of the teams, I wonder where Real Sociedad fit in the overall standings of the league table. Well,
I will just also the variable of COVID has to be factored in to everything we analyze, and San Mamés is a fortress with its fans there, and obviously we know that not having that sucks for them and sucks for everybody. Also, but San Mamés is obviously one of the more spirited atmospheres in the entire league. So, All right, we had one more question, which I'm going to bring up right now.
It's a long one today as we're making up for Friday. I hope the Churros listeners appreciate.
I'm sure they do. Sebastian Hultuana says, what happens if Barca go broke? How does that affect them short and long term? Is it possible for them to have to be privately owned to survive? I really love this podcast, and I like it a lot when you talk about financial stuff. It makes you understand football better. Keep up the good work. It will be pretty sad in the future when the intro will be done based on which clubs suck the least. We're already at that stage now. We are already living in that era.
That should be the criteria.
Yeah.
That is the criteria. Good one. Who was this?
Sebastian Hultuona.
There you go, Sebastian. Good question. Hey, I like it, and thank you for the support.
Thank you.
Love hearing that sort of feedback, any kind of feedback, but if it's good, of course, then all the better received. So thank you. What happens if? Well, listen, you in your question, I think gave the answer. If the case were to take place that Barca sees itself to declare bankruptcy, Tusquets has already mentioned that the players are not going to get paid this January, that they'll have to wait until June to get paid. I mean, it's a scenario, it's a possibility that I don't even want to think about, but that is a reality and a real possibility that has to be taken into account. If that were to happen, yes, private ownership, I think, would be the solution and the answer to my dismay and that of hundreds or millions of thousands of culés and the hundreds of thousands of socios, because it would mean, of course, that we would no longer be part owner, member of the club. So no further elections, no voice, no decision-making power, no assemblies, and so forth. But that, in a nutshell, would be the solution. I at least that's the one that occurs to me. Kiyan, I don't know if you have financial, creative business solutions where you could spin this somehow to still allow the clubs to survive, and if they would reach bankruptcy and go broke.
No, but the one context that I haven't seen anyone speak about is kind of the bailout, government bailout kind of scenario where the Catalan government sees the institution of FC Barcelona too important to see go bankrupt. it's too important to the fans, to the spirit of the community. So there's an intervention somehow. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how they're doing for presupuestos, their budgets, and how they're doing for cash. But we're talking Spain here, my friend. This is not, one of the rich nations in Europe or the world.
Yeah.
But hey, before that takes place, let's not entertain that thought any longer. Shall we, Sebastian? I appreciate the question, though.
I think we should wrap it up here, Diego. I got a long day ahead of me. You also need to recover, and we both got kids.
No, man, I need to run down. It's insane. Like, I'm so happy you guys don't hear what I have to hear. The screaming and the food being thrown. And my wife, slowly but surely, her patience getting tested, and that patience running out, which is by the time Daddy walks into that kitchen, it's, that look, the wife look. You know what I'm talking about, Kiyan? And it's just like, these motherfuckers are all yours now. Thank you very much. I hope you had a good time talking about football on your podcast. Have fun. I'm off.
Every listener who has kids right now immediately knows what you're talking about. So there's sympathy everywhere. All right, go deal with that. I'll probably deal with that in a few hours because of the time difference. I still have a couple hours left until that stage. But yeah, go deal with that. We'll be back Friday. Right. And have fun watching Messi versus Ronaldo tomorrow. And we'll talk soon. Take care. Thanks, Diego.
Peace, buddy. Ciao.